So here's a question for you. Do you have a dog that roams freely around your yard? Well, odds are you have an electric fence, or you may want one. But you've been holding back just a little bit because of the unknown when it comes to exactly what that's going to do to your yard. Well, Delmarva Life's Brian Spyros is in Allen at a home that had the fencing system put in not too long ago. So the question is, Brian, what's involved in all this?
Well, Jimmy, we're going to lay it all out to you literally, and I first want to introduce you to Ken Dolch, who is the dealer and owner of the company. You know, Ken, when it comes to invisible fences, I can imagine people think it's going to cause damage to the yard, or you have to bring all this equipment in, or that it's going to hurt the dogs. We're going to talk about all that. First, explain to me what you guys actually have to do in the yard to install the fence.
Yeah, Brian, what we do when we actually install is we're just going to cut a thin line in the yard, lay the wire in there, and pretty much once we're done in a week or two, the only thing you're going to see left is the flags, and those come out after another week or two after that. So.
And you said sometimes it would there'll be a brown strip around the edging of the yard because the grass is distressed, but that will completely come back.
Yeah, I mean, right where we've installed, you might see some evidence that we were there, but we're not using heavy equipment. We're not tearing up the yard.
The other thing too is dog pee. I hear people say, you know, oh, it's going to electrocute my dog or zap my dog. That's not the case. We actually have some collars here. Explain how these work.
Basically, what they're going to do is give the dog or cat an audible warning when they get to the boundary. That's going to be followed by a static correction. We're going to work with them and train them using a lot of positive reinforcement to teach them how to respond to that, and we'll do that at a very low level. So, something that you and they can barely feel. They recognize they're feeling something. Ultimately, to keep them in the yard, they're going to feel something that's closer to what you feel when you touch a doorknob
like that static electricity, right?
Yeah.
And the thing too is that after a while, the dogs get used to it. They know where they can and cannot go.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we guarantee that we can successfully train the dogs. In 9 years, I've never had a dog that couldn't be trained. And once they learn where that boundary is, they hardly ever go near it again.
All right, so good stuff there. Now, I want to talk about some other technology. If people don't necessarily want to get a fence in their yard, there's other ways that they can keep their dog in or out of certain areas. Let's talk about these here. There's an option for inside and outside the house. Let's talk about inside first.
Okay. Yeah, what we've got here is shields for indoor avoidance. You can keep the dogs off of a piece of furniture, keep the dog out of the litter box, keep the cat out of the dog food, prevent the pets from going upstairs and getting in the kids' bedrooms, if one of the kids is allergic or something like that. So it's a major convenience thing and sometimes a necessity for areas around the house that maybe you don't want the pets getting into.
And you could just leave this like on a step if you don't want them going upstairs, or you can actually mount it to the wall if you want to keep it permanently in a certain area.
That's right. Yeah.
And let's talk about this one here, which kind of looks like a rock, so it's meant to go outside and blend in with the landscape.
Right. Yeah, it's weather resistant, designed for outdoor use. Basically does the same thing. You can keep the pets from digging in a flower area or in the landscaping, or if you want to have your dog out on your front porch with you, you can block off the steps so that they're not going to run off and take off into the front yard or chase somebody down the street.
And again, we can't stress, if you don't want the entire invisible fence, you can get these, and all you need is these units and then the collar for the dog.
That's right.
All right, so a lot of good information there. So hold that thought. I'm actually going to go over to, we have a homeowner here, Sally, who had the invisible fence installed. Basically, this must give you a lot of peace of mind when it comes to your two dogs. You have woods behind your house, water. I mean, it keeps them in the area.
I'm able to let them out of the house and know that they're going to stay contained within our yard, that they're safe and anybody walking by is not going to be troubled by them.
Exactly. When it was installed, what did you notice in the yard after all was said and done? We were just talking to Ken that some people get worried that, it's going to damage the yard or cause all these issues, but that's not the case.
Just a fine line where the wire went in, and then there were flags. And the flags are gone in 2 weeks after the training's over.
And we have them up today, but once they're gone, the only thing that really knows that they're out here are the dogs.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Sally. So, Ken, the other thing I want to talk to you about real quick is that obviously, and you touched upon this earlier, you guys, when you come here and you install them, you work with the homeowner to kind of make sure that the dog is trained and know it's there. You just don't install it and leave.
Right. That's right. And typically what I do is at least one follow-up training session where I'm coming back a few days later, after we've introduced the dogs or the cats to the boundaries, to make sure that they understand it and to make sure that they're going to, stay within those boundaries.
Exactly. And the other thing that's nice about this too is that if someone doesn't really have the money to put a big fence in the backyard to keep a dog in, the invisible fence really is a cheaper option.
Yeah, I mean, typically we're 10 to 20% of the cost of a traditional fencing option, and so 80–90% cost savings, and you don't have anything that you have to look at either, so we're not going to ruin your view of your landscape.
So case in point, won't hurt the dog, won't hurt your yard, and there's a lot of different options here on the table, literally, for people to choose from.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
All right, Ken, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Now, for more information on the Invisible Fence brand of Delmarva, you can log on to our website, delmarvalife.com, and click on the show tab. And you know, Jimmy, I was thinking I could bring one of these back to the office, put the collar on, and I'll actually stay at my desk and get work done. What do you think?
I think that's certainly effective. Let me know if it works, because I know my wife would certainly be interested in me using that too.
I will bring one back for you as well.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. We'll talk to you soon. You know, boating season doesn't officially begin until Memorial Day, but because of this gorgeous weather we've been having, many boaters on Delmarva are getting a jump start this year. Still ahead on Delmarva Life, what needs to be done before you put that boat in the water, and if you don't own one, what boat would likely fit your needs? Delmarva Life at its best here on Delmarva.